Welcome to the universe in a seashell, the podcast dedicated to science, life, and girl power. I'm Kara Bartek and I'm your host. I'm a PhD, an author, and I want to make this world a more equal and opportune place, one girl at a time. And welcome to the podcast. It's Kara.
And Caroline.
I hope all of you guys are staying safe and healthy during this very strange time of the coronavirus. We're not going to school. We're not really going to the grocery stores. We're not hanging out with friends. We're probably not hanging out with family either, except the family that we have in our own four walls, but it's a good opportunity for us to discover new things, right?
Yes.
Caroline and Penny this week have started learning Spanish.
Yes.
Can you hit us up with a little bit of Espanol?
Head is cabeza. Toes is pies. Sort of. A little.
Come on, give us some of those phrases that I heard you.
I'm trying to remember some.
El niño bebé.
Girl drinking.
The boy. I think El niño is the boy, right?
El niña, I think is the...
La niña is the girl?
Yeah.
What about come? What is come?
Eating.
Come is eating, and then corre? Is it corre?
Running.
Okay, yeah. So that's one of the new things that we're doing. Another new thing that we're doing is we're spending a lot of time outside. In fact, Caroline spent so much time outside yesterday that she was wearing sandals and she got a little sunburn on her feet in the pattern of her sandals. So she's got like these red squares on her feet. It's really crazy. Okay, I'm gonna have to take a picture and I'll put it on the Facebook page because it's super silly, but hey, at least we're getting our vitamin D, right?
Yeah.
Maybe next time we should wear a little bit more sunscreen.
Yes.
This past week, I've noticed that we've had a lot more listeners tuning in. I wanted to say hi to all of our brand new friends. I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you're enjoying this podcast. And remember, if you have a topic idea, send an email to me at universeinaseashell@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram. Hit that little direct message button. Make sure you're talking to your mom or your dad before you go on getting on there on Instagram, because it could be very much a black hole and you'll just end up watching videos of pigs getting their bristles brushed all day. That's what we did the other day, wasn't it? That pig was getting his bristles brushed, and then we watched like 10 other videos of pigs getting their like little bristles brushed. And then there was that one pig that was getting his teeth brushed, and I was kind of like, okay, this needs to stop immediately. But anyway, for all of you folks who are just now tuning in, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of background on what the Universe in a Seashell is all about. The name, the Universe in a Seashell, is basically a way for me to honor one of my favorite books of all time by Stephen Hawking, which it's called The Universe in a Nutshell. And Stephen Hawking was this very brilliant cosmologist who studied all of the most amazing things out there in the universe, like black holes and how universes form and how time actually works. And he would take all of these huge concepts and make them into very easily understood bits and pieces. He was taking something as big as the universe and putting it in a little tiny nutshell. Now for us, I thought seashells were way cooler. So I said, hey, we're going to call this podcast The Universe in a Seashell. So that's where we're at. I'm all about making science fun and interesting for kids, especially girls. Because in my career in a science field, I noticed that there wasn't a lot of other girls that worked with me. And I felt like, hey, this could be a problem, especially since I have 2 daughters. And I want to make sure that there are a lot of girls, when you go into a science field, if that's something that you choose, that are out there that are just like you. You know, a passion for science starts when you're pretty young, when you're 5, 6.
The age towards Penny.
Yeah, it starts pretty early on. And so that's what this is all about. We are talking about science in a way that's fun and interesting. And of course, we've got tons of fart jokes, and we talk about poop a lot. In fact, today we're going to be talking about poop again. Poop, 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 poop.
I did not think Mom would agree to this.
Okay, so we're getting really silly, okay? We've been super silly in our house. We're kind of going stir crazy. So I said, you know what? Let's talk about some of the silliest subjects in science. So for the next, I don't know, we're going to just see how many...
6 months.
Hopefully we're not in for the next 6 months, but you never know. We're going to be talking about silly science, okay? So welcome to the universe in a seashell and our silly science questions, okay? Now this question is coming actually from Penny's teacher, Miss Cindy. Hey, Miss Cindy, I hope you're doing well. The question is, here, Caroline, can you read that for me?
Why do wombats have square poop?
All right. Now, first of all, did you know that was a thing?
I did not know I don't even know what wombats are.
Oh, well, pull up your britches, put on your sandals, make sure you got your sunscreen.
Let's go.
Let's talk about wombats and their square poopies. Now, first of all, to truly get into the science side of this question, we have to understand, why is it that we poop at all? Why do you think that we poop?
We digest food and it has to come out some way.
Okay, well, according to a Live Well article, a Dr. Gary Grigolini, he's a poop doctor apparently, okay? He says, we poop to eliminate fecal material, which consists of undigested food, the lining of our gastrointestinal tract, which sheds its surface layer every few days, plus bacteria. That explains the stinky smell. Dr. Grigolini says, basically the nutrients and micronutrients that keep us alive, like proteins, carbs, fat, vitamins, minerals, etc., are absorbed into our bloodstream from the foods we eat, leaving behind the insoluble and non-digested stuff that doesn't get absorbed. That stuff has to be eliminated.
I thought it was the stuff that you did digest.
No, so apparently, you know, when we eat something, let's say it's filled with, let's say it's broccoli, okay? It's got some calcium, it's got some vitamin C, it's got fiber, it's got all of these kind of
vitamins and stuff.
Vitamins, minerals, all this kind of good stuff. It's gonna go through our esophagus, get digested down in the stomach, all of those acidic juices, it kind of gets crunched up, and then it starts passing through the intestines. So we have the small intestines and we have the large intestines, okay? Now, as it starts passing through that, which by the way, if we unwound those intestines, I don't even know, I've heard crazy figures. I'm gonna have to look this up because I don't have it at the tip of my fingers, but our intestines are like crazy long, okay?
Woo!
Like super, super long.
600 feet long?
Maybe not that long. But the reason that they're so long is all of that food is passing through and our body is working to extract all of the good minerals. What generally stays behind is like fiber, you know, it's kind of like makes your stool or your poopy kind of big, okay? The stuff that's okay, so like broccoli is good. So it probably, a lot of it gets absorbed. Now, when you and Penny eat those nerds or those like Pez things, I can't imagine. Like what's in Pez? Like it just looks like a brick.
It basically is a brick that just says Pez.
But I mean, and it kind of tastes like drywall or something. Like, I mean, I'm all about the sugar, but that no. Okay, so you know we've got to get rid of all of the stuff that our body doesn't need, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have a really giant tummy.
And another thing that I love is when you eat corn and you accidentally don't chew it and then it ends up in your doo-doo.
Ew. 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 Well, see, and that's another thing. So there are certain things that are undigestible. Corn is notorious for that because it's got that outer, like, really
Layer
tough
skinny?
Yeah, it's like a pericarp. But yeah, it's like
Sometimes
unless you
it's
chew
hard
it
to
very well.
like
Okay, TMI.
to like chew.
Too much information, Caroline. Too much information. Okay, enough from the potty talk from you. Okay, now, so we've talked about why it's necessary for humans and animals to poop. So let's talk about what this little guy is that we care about. It's a wombat.
Finally, we get to a wombat.
Now-
what it is?
Now, do you know where wombats live?
South America,
No.
Africa,
No. Another continent that starts with an A.
Asia,
No.
North America.
Oh my gosh. They live in Australia. Okay.
I was gonna say that.
They are short-legged, muscular, quadrupedal marsupials. Now, what is a marsupial?
I have
What's
no
special
idea.
about marsupials? Marsupials carry their little babies in pouches, like a kangaroo. Okay?
Oh, that's so adorable.
Yeah, they're super adorable. Okay. And they're native to Australia, which we already talked-
Australia.
Yeah. Did I tongue tie that one?
Australia.
Australia. Okay. And they're about 1 meter in length, and they've got little stubby tails, and they weigh between like 20 and 35 kgs. That's probably 40
Oh my
to 60
gosh.
pounds, 70 pounds. So they're pretty big. Okay. Now, but
And
here's
they're-
the thing. Okay, so Miss Cindy sent me this article, and this article was from National Geographic. So this isn't like from, sillyscience.com. Like, this is, National Geographic is one of the most respected scientific periodicals out
And
there.
they're good for kids.
Yeah, National Geographic is totally good for kids, but it just came through my messenger. It just said, why do wombats have cubed poop? And I thought, okay. What exactly am I looking at here? Okay, because normally, poop takes on what I would think would be like the shape of what our intestines are, because our intestines are kind of like long tubes, right?
Like those tubes that you use to like shoot water through and stuff.
Yeah, it's like kind of like a pipe, and that's normally what, every kind of animal, except for like rabbits. Rabbits have those teeny little pebble things.
Like they're
and
like-
deer. Yeah, they kind of, rabbits, goats.
Remember when Penny said, "Look, I found some beans."
Yeah, we were at a camp one time, and there was a lot of deer poop around, and Penny was pretty young at the time, and she just kept running around saying, "Mom, look, beans, beans." And I just said, please, don't eat the beans. Don't eat the beans. But anyway, okay. So let's explore what this National Geographic article says. Okay, people have all sorts of theories, says Mike Swinburne, a wombat expert at the University of Adelaide in Australia. One popular postulate or theory is that wombats make cubes so they can stack them to mark their territory without pieces rolling away. Okay?
They stack their own poop.
That's what they're saying. They're saying, okay, this is a way. Now that's very common in the
That
animal
is
kingdom.
weird.
But that's very common in the animal kingdom, is that animals will either urinate, that means pee-pee, or defecate, poo-poo, to basically say, this is my territory, this is where I hunt, this is where I sleep, stay
Like,
out.
I think coyotes pee.
Coyotes pee,
Wombats poop.
well, we're gonna get there, but cats, that's very common. Like even house cats, they'll spray to like mark their territories.
Oh yeah, and don't dogs do that as well?
Oh yeah, dogs. And then it's very common. Okay.
Like animals have their own way of like communicating with other animals. Like
Yes.
stay away.
Yes.
This is my territory.
Well, so that's what they're kind of thinking that these wombats are doing. But Swinburne, who this is the wombat expert, he says that's actually a misconception. While wombats do use their scat, that's another word for poop, to mark their territory, it's not like they're trying to build little brick pyramids, he says. They just poop where they poop. Okay? So obviously they're not particular about where they're pooping. So this is not like a territorial thing where they want to make sure that they're, making a huge
Fort.
poop fort, like,
Or a chair where they can go
like this
I'm
is
the king.
I'm Joe the Wombat. Check out my poop fort. Okay, that's not happening here.
No.
Okay, instead, Swinburne says the cubic shape is more likely related to the dry environments that most wombats live in. They have to really squeeze every drop of moisture out of their food, he says. And sometimes in zoos where the animals have readier access to hydration, like a water bowl or something, Swinburne says that their scat is less cubic. Being dry helps the scats form more rigid shapes with sharper angles.
I wonder if there's an animal that has a diamond-shaped poop.
I did not come across that in my research. Please try not to get distracted. I know it's very easily distracted. I think you powered down a Pez within the past, like a full thing of Pez.
I powered down 2 in a day.
Okay. Now, moisture plays a role, but it's also a factor of the primary digestive tract, adds Bill Ziegler, Senior Vice President for Animal Programs at Brookfield Zoo in Chicago, which has had wombats since 1969. Peter Clements, the president of the organization Wombats SA in Southern Australia, concurs, speculating that it's a combination of the two. So he's saying, okay, it's probably due to the fact that they don't get a lot of water, okay? Which for humans, if you don't get a lot of water, you get a condition called constipation.
Where you can't poop.
Right, and so that means and it's very painful, and it's...
So you have to
it's like a brick inside you.
You have to gulp down a lot of water.
Okay. And it could also be the way that their digestive tract looks. Okay, finding a more concrete answer, however, hasn't been easy. It took Yang and her colleagues months just to get a hold of wombat innards for their studies. Okay, so these scientists said, okay, we need to study the insides of a real wombat, okay? And so usually in zoology or the study of animals, the way that they do that is through dissection.
Why did you have to say that?
Okay, but it's not always cruel, okay? So listen to this, okay? No zoos in North America had any basically wombat cadavers. That means a wombat that had passed away. So Yang had the intestines of 2 roadkill wombats. So these were wombats that were actually hit on the road, and so and they were going to be good specimens, okay? Shipped from Australia. She wasn't sure what to expect when they arrived. At first, I thought that they might have a square anus. Now, so the anus is the very bottom part of the digestive tract. So
That's
that would
what
make
I was
sense.
thinking too.
Well, and
their tubes are square.
Well, yeah, and so it would really make sense if that part, that very last part, the part where the poop is going to be passing through, if that is square, that could make it a cubed shaped.
Just like our intestines, they're probably
they're more tube shaped.
Tube shaped, like cylinder.
Yeah.
Then when they come out, they're cylinder shaped.
Right, and so it kind of takes on that shape. Okay. Or maybe the cube forms right around the stomach, she said, but neither of those hypotheses turned out to be the case. Okay? What she found to be more important was how the wombat's intestines stretched. Okay, as food is digested and moves through the gut, and pressure from the intestine helps sculpt the feces. Now, feces is another word for poop, okay? Meaning that the shape of the intestines will affect the shape of a dropping. So Yang and the team expanded their wombat and pig intestines with a balloon to measure and compare their elasticities, okay, or their stretchiness. How stretchy they were, okay? The pig intestines had a relatively uniform elasticity, which would explain the animal's rounder shaped poop.
Like ours.
Right. The wombat's intestines, however, had a much more irregular shape. Yang observed 2 distinct ravine-like grooves where the intestines is stretchier, which she believes helps shape wombat feces into a cubic type scat, or it looks like a little square, like a die, like a dice, like a pair of dice. Okay.
Like you roll.
It's really the first time I've ever seen anybody come up with a good biological, physiological explanation since Swinburne, who reviewed the draft. Clements, who also read the early study, added, I think this is a useful contribution, but more explanation of a possible mechanism would be helpful. Yang agrees there are still a host of questions to answer and says her research is ongoing. Her next task is to figure out why only 2 grooves produce a cube, as opposed to needing 4. Because, right, squares have how many sides?
4.
Right. And cube is no different. It's just the 3D version of a square, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when you normally draw a square, you can't like put it up and like roll it. But a cube, you can roll it.
Listen to this. Yang says cubes are very rare in nature. We currently have only 2 methods to manufacture cubes, she said, explaining that humans either mold cubes from soft materials or cut them from harder objects. However, wombats have a 3rd way. That's pretty cool, don't you think?
Yep.
So what do you think about that square poop? All this potty talk, Caroline. We've gotten super silly in this house, haven't we?
I love it.
Okay, so I've got a special treat at the end of this podcast, and I want you guys to get crazy and dance. I found a song that's apparently a nursery rhyme, kind of like something that's, like basically like a kid's song that is Australian, and it is called the Wombat Wobble. Are you guys ready for the Wombat Wobble?
Yes.
All right, get ready to...
Wombat wobble.
Dance, dance, dance.
Well, let's do it.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Doobie didgeridoo, bop bop bop, and the wombat wobble, and the kangaroo, and the emu too, and jump in the air, and turn around, and say to mom and dad and all your friends in a big love heart, I love you. Do the crocodile snap, and the cockatoo flap, and the penguin walk, and the little seal clap, and jump in the air, and turn around, and say to mom and dad and all your friends in a big love heart, I love you. Now let's do the rock and roll version. Do the didgeridoo, and the wombat wobble, and the kangaroo, and the emu too. And you jump up in the air, and you turn around, and you say to mom and dad and all your friends in a big love heart, I love you. Do the crocodile snap, and the cockatoo flap, and the penguin walk, and the little seal clap, and you jump up in the air, and you turn around, and you say to mom and dad and all your friends in a big love heart, I love you. Do the crocodile snap, and the cockatoo flap, and the penguin walk, and the little seal clap, and you jump in the air, and you turn around, and you say to mom and dad and all your friends in a big love heart, I love you. Do the crocodile snap, and the cockatoo flap, and the penguin walk, and the little seal clap, and you jump in the air, and turn around, and you say to mom and dad and all your friends in a big love heart, I love you.